Reports, Finance, Administrative Activities, item number 2018-0204, Department of Waterworks. Mr. Broke.
Thank you. Wanted to talk to y'all tonight about the operations of the Department of Waterworks. Always proud of the things we accomplish. I've got a great staff of 53 employees who provide safe drinking water to the public 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. Got some statistics about the department. For billing, sales are down compared to previous years. That has been a trend that we've been seeing over the last several years as water-saving devices continue to get installed in homes, showers, toilets, washing machines. They're all more water efficient. So it has been a downward trend. We do have currently just under 21,000 active customers. That's 80% or 87% of our customer or our services. That fluctuates even weekly, easily could be as high as 90% today. These statistics, most of these are from 2017, end of the year. We have been offering online bill pay for a while now. Earlier this year, we changed to a new vendor, and in 17, that accounted for 17.7% of our total payments that we received, with mail still being the most popular. But the current trend with online payments, it's going through the roof. The new vendor allows mobile-friendly devices, so you can pay through a smartphone or a tablet. Speaking with our public information officer, the online bill is the #1 hit portion of St. Charles Parish's website. And most of that was 48% of that is with smartphones. Just a comparison of the average water bill from 1996, as a year after I started with the department, till today. In 1996, the average water bill was $40.05. Today, or at the end of, this is 18, is $68.15. Water has gone up during that period. That's 38.6% increase in the cost of water. But some of the other services account for more than that. If you account strictly for the cost of living, an inflation calculator for those 22 years, it went up 60.54% during that time. So it really is still a good bargain. The water portion is 65 cents per day for the average customer. That's for us to deliver all the water they want for every use they need in their home, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, holidays, weekends, freeze events, whatever. And we're delivering it for 65 cents a day and doing our part in helping with fire protection. We do have 285,195 accounts were read in 2017. We, earlier this year, started using smartphones to manually read meters. It allows real-time data to come back to the office. In the past, they had a handheld computer, started in '94 with those. We were on our third generation of those, but you entered the reading in. At the end of the day, it would get downloaded. We would not see that data until the next morning, and we could start analyzing it. Now, as they're entering it, as soon as they hit it, that data is going straight back to the office. So it's really made it much more efficient. We have failed audits when we're reading those meters, so we read 285,000 meters last year. 15,796 of those were rechecked because it failed the parameters. So while the meter reader's out there, if it's 50% below the average bill or 50% above it, the device will not take it, and they have to reread the meter, check that they have the right location, they're entering the reading right, they re-enter it. After that, our billing personnel go through it, and so there was another 2,867 that were checked last year, because when the billing department got it, they still saw something was amiss with the reading. Could have been they had a leak, could have been that the meter stopped working, whatever. So they rechecked it. We did install 146 new services last year, which is less than 1% increase in the system. We have, for the last 9 years now, started putting in radio read meters so that we can read the meters by driving by them without physically looking at the meter. It allows us to do data logging that we can get hourly readings to help customers understand their billing, what happened. So right now, we've got 8,070 of those, which represents 34% of our total services, but it represents 39% of our active customers. Next council meeting, I have a contract on your agenda for a local vendor to install 2,000 meters that we've already purchased. That will get us up to 10,000 meters, and it'll end up being 48% of our active customers. Currently, we already have over 50% of our industrial meters are read with radios, and over 50% of our commercial meters are read with radios. This will be a big push to get more residential. We're currently at just under 30%. In distribution, we had 215 repairs to service line, but that's less than 1% of the services that we have. We had 24 mainline leaks on 375 miles of pipe, which equates to one leak for every 15.6 miles of water line. That is an extremely low statistic nationally, and it just shows the integrity of our water system, how well it is maintained. We're wrapping up the cast iron replacement phase 2, which started here at the courthouse and went to Fashion. We should be wrapping that up soon. There will be some more coming. We have just over or just under 13 miles of cast iron remaining. And that is from Fashion back to Paul Mallard Road on River Road, and then the entire length of Paul Mallard Road from River Road to LA 631 or Old Spanish Trail. Those will be some of the upcoming projects that we will be trying to accomplish. Later this year, we'll be taking down the 3 water towers. We do have the water flow model is being calibrated as we speak, and should be in our hands shortly. We have the capacity to treat 19 million gallons, but we treated last year just under 3.1 billion gallons of water and sold to our customers. Interesting statistic is that one employee, I have 12-hour shifts for my plant operators, one employee does on average 319 routine water analysis in a shift. So that's 465,000 of those were performed last year by 2 guys. That's the 2 is 1 on each side of the river at any of those 12-hour shifts. In 17, we had begun refurbishment of West Bank A plant clarifier, which is just finished wrapping up a couple months ago. It had been last refurbished in 1982. I want to stress that we are in full compliance with all state and federal drinking water standards. Something we're very proud of. We have a tremendous track record with that. And I had been working with a Louisiana Standards Committee that represents 9 various stakeholders. We started in 2013 rewriting the water standards for Louisiana. We have finished that job, and the new regulations actually became effective August 1st of this year. Lastly, we do have a few offsets to perform to get out of the way of the planned improvements to US 61 in St. Rose. There's some drainage improvements that are coming with that highway project, and we have 3 locations that our water line will be in the way of those. We've submitted permits to DOTD. We're just waiting for them to give us the go-ahead, and we'll get out of their way. We only need a couple weeks to do it, and we'll be out of their way before they can even let that project. We're currently working on the East Bank Sea Plant filter upgrade. That is in engineering. We've gone back and forth with the engineer a few times, coming up with a preliminary design, and that should be moving forward pretty soon. We're looking to do that construction, though, in early 2019. West Bank River intake modifications, working with the engineer on that as well, have met a couple of times now, and we need to get that done in the next couple months. That should be coming up pretty quickly. So I will be bringing it to y'all so shortly. Really, that talked about most of the rest of it already. Guess if y'all have any other questions, just be happy to answer them.
Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Robbie, just 2 questions. I know some time ago you had come before the council, and I'm not quite sure what agency of the state that gave us a certain time period to replace lead fittings or something. What kind of progress or where we are with the replacement of this mandate that was unfunded?
I think you're referring to, a couple of years ago, I had talked about there was a new low lead standard that came out. It did not require us to replace anything. It required us to, as of a certain date, and I want to say it was 16, or it might have even been 15, that we could no longer use as fittings. So anything I had in stock could be used. After that date, it became obsolete. There's a big push right now for education in lead. It is a hot topic around the country. The good news is St. Charles Parish has no lead service lines in our system at all. So a lot of communities, especially older communities, are struggling with locating those lines, having to put them on maps, and there's a mandate with the state for transparency in lead. The statement that we have posted on our website is that we do not have any lead service lines at all. We were somewhat lucky. Both districts started in 1950, and the use of lead for service lines had really gone out of favor at that point.
Okay, and the second of the 2 questions, that was a period of time we went through when it was a rush to get those irrigation meters that pretty much flatline. Every now and then you're still getting a request or 2.
I still have some. It's not nearly as popular. If you recall, a few years ago, y'all restructured the sewer rate structure to level that playing field. Before you pay, if you have just a single residential meter, you pay 80% of the sewer rate. If you had an irrigation in the past, you still paid 80% what went in your home and nothing outside. Y'all have changed that now there's a structure, and if you came in today and said, I want 2 new services, you pay 0 on your irrigation for all your outdoor use, but you pay 100% of the sewer rate for your indoor use. So it's not nearly as popular. If you use a lot of water outside, it still is not a bad way to go. If you use more than 20% of your water outside, it's probably worth it to you, but that's not our average customer.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ms. Cluley?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For your Home Allard corridor update, is there any way any of that can be included with the DOTD upgrade that's in the works?
I'm
So
not
that's
really
all done
sure.
at a similar time or the same time?
I've had discussions previously with DOTD and Public Works officials about coordinating with that, and planning and zoning as well. That pipe is unlike the cast iron along River Road. The cast iron on River Road is corroding. It's causing flow problems. We've cut sections out of the line on Paul Mallard Road to take a look at the inside of the pipe, and it's in very good shape. So I'm actually looking or exploring non-dig type refurbishments of it. There's different types of linings, there's ice pigging, there's several different things out there, but to make it less impact to the community. There's really nowhere for us to go. We're right up against the fence. We're on the western side of Paul Mallard Road. And the right-of-way is just so narrow. It's really going to depend what that final project looks like with GOTD.
Your automatic read meters, that the 2,000 that are going to be installed, in what areas are they going to be putting those?
We're concentrating on Muntz and Narco. That'll wipe out that entire area so that we won't have to manually read any in that area. That will be less than the 2,000, and then we're going to the extreme eastern end of St. Rose and installing them there and closing it off.
All
The
right.
bulk of them currently are on the West Bank.
Thank you.
Mr. Hogan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Robbie, you said that there was 2,900 of them that you had to recheck after you already had rechecked them for failed parameters.
Correct.
How is the reliability on these things? I know not too long ago, I saw a news report or an article in the paper about some community that was having severe problems with these.
This is not the radio read devices that we recheck for inconsistencies. These are when they manually read a meter and they go out there, because even the radio read meters, we read twice a year, just to make sure it's functioning and staying in line. But when they enter that into the device, it fails. So they looked at all of those 16,000 meters that had failed, and the billing staff looked through it and say, which ones do we need to send somebody back out and read again? Basically, at that point, some of these meters have been read 3 or 4 times before we ever send a bill.
As far as reliability, are you familiar with that story of
Yes, I am.
that community? I mean, it sounded like it was a major problem that they were having. What brand is it? Is it the same brand we're using? What was
I'm not sure what community you're talking about. There's a lot of stuff. It's not a set it and forget it type of thing. It is a very high-level, complex computer that you're putting in the ground in pretty harsh environment. I had anticipated being further along than this since we've been putting them in, but we did run into some problems where they were failing, and we brought them in. We showed them what the problem were. All of it's warrantied. Got brand-new ones. We still have a slight percentage that fail, and when I say fail, they stop reading. They stop broadcasting the reading. It's still reading accurately. It's a mechanical device,
Yeah.
but it's not broadcasting. We go out there, we change it, get the register changed. Almost none of the ones we've done in the last 5 years have failed at all. All of them are some of that first batch that we had gotten.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Brooks, thank you so much. It was very informative.